I just finished watching the World Baseball Classic, and the one thing I could come away with is the fact that the sport of baseball is officially safe. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, for the past month, countries from around the world have come together to play the game of baseball. I'm talking countries like Venezuela, Puerto Rico, China, South Korea, Italy, the Netherlands. Yeah, it's worldwide. It's basically the World Cup for baseball. Now, let's get into some of the big storylines. First off, we've got this underdog Mexico team who made a surprising run. I mean, most people didn't even have them coming out of the group stage, but they did, and they made it all the way to the semifinals. Now, why did Mexico do so good this year? Well, I believe it's in part to the fact that they leaned on the back of superstar center fielder Randy Arozarena, who's playing for the Tampa Bay Rays right now. Now, why hasn't the Mexican national team relied on Arozarena before? Well, it's probably because he just became a Mexican citizen. Now, why hasn't Arozarena been a citizen? Well, it's kind of a complicated story. So, he was originally born in Cuba, where he grew up, played baseball from a really young age, until the Cuban national team was afraid of the fact that he might defect to the US, which happens a lot of the times. But because the Cuban national team wouldn't let Arozarena play for them, he needed money to provide for his family, so he made it to Mexico, signed with the minor league club there, suited up for them, eventually got signed to a major league team, I'm pretty sure the Cardinals. From there, he made his way to the Tampa Bay Rays, where he's become a superstar. Now, how did Arozarena earn his citizenship? Well, it's kind of an interesting story. So, he reached out to the Mexican president and made him an offer that he couldn't refuse. So, Arozarena said that if he were to be made a citizen of Mexico, that he would suit up for the national team. And of course, the president of Mexico, being a huge baseball fan that he is, he agrees to terms, and that's why Arozarena is playing for the Mexican national team. And God, was it the best decision for both parties. I mean, Arozarena has really blossomed. I mean, he was good. He's been good for the Tampa Bay Rays, but he's made himself what is basically a household name at this point with how he's performed in the World Baseball Classic. But he isn't the only major leaguer to make a bigger name for himself through the World Baseball Classic. I mean, for example, the US has got shortstop Trey Turner, who's been phenomenal. He's basically turned into Captain America with the way he's playing. Now, if you don't know who Trey Turner is, he was a longtime Nationals player. He helped that team get to the World Series and eventually win, only to be turned to the LA Dodgers for a lot of cash, whatever. They got a lot of players out of him because the Nationals had to rebuild. Now, he plays for the Dodgers currently, and, he's a great shortstop and all. Multiple-time All-Star. But more importantly is how he's playing on the US's national team. He's been amazing. He's hit home runs after home runs, but probably his most notable was against Venezuela in the bottom of the 8th, where Team USA was down by 2 runs, and Trey Turner steps up to the plate and hits a grand slam to keep the US's chances alive. And honestly, it's the reason they made it to the finals. Speaking of the finals, this is where things get a little bit spicy. See, on one side, we have Japan, who's being led by the greatest player in the history of the game, besides Babe Ruth, in Shohei Ohtani. I mean, he's doing things that haven't been done in over 100 years. This guy can go for like 6 innings, get like 8 strikeouts with a 100-mile-per-hour fastball, and then turn into a DH in the second half of the game and hit like 2 home runs. I mean, and if you think that's impossible, you're wrong. He's been doing it for the Angels. You might not know that because he plays for the Angels, and the Angels haven't done anything with him his entire career, kind of like Mike Trout, who we'll get to later. Now, Shohei Ohtani is the reason that this team has made it this far. Not to say that Japan has never seen success like this. I mean, they won the World Baseball Classic back in 2006, and then won it again in 2009. So, Japan has been a very good baseball team. It just helps that they now have the best player in the world. And on the other side, we have Team USA, who is being led by Trey Turner, who I talked about, stars like Mookie Betts, Mike Trout, Kyle Schwarber. And on the pitching side of things, I mean, the U.S., most of the US's pitchers decided to opt out, for safety reasons. They don't want to get injured right before the season starts. So, you might not know most of the pitching staff on the men's national team, but here they are. Some of the more notable names that are on Team USA are guys like Jason Adam from the Rays, Daniel Bard from the Rockies, Kendall Graveman from the White Sox, and Kyle Freeland also from the Rockies. Now, there's Adam Wainwright, who people might know, but he's a little older now, so, would you really count Adam Wainwright? But besides the point, so Team USA might not be the best pitching-wise, but they absolutely make up for it on the batting side of things. I mean, this team has been an absolute juggernaut night after night. I mean, I'm pretty sure they beat Cuba by way more than 10 runs, all thanks to their hitting. I mean, they got like 14 runs in that game. Crazy. Unfortunately, it didn't seem like the bats came when it really mattered in the finals versus Japan. Now, let's get into it. Now, to kick things off, let's just get to the top of the second, where Trey Turner, who has basically been claimed as Captain America at this point, steps up to the plate for Team USA in his first at-bat of the game and goes absolutely yard, smacking one 406 feet all the way into the left field to give Team USA an early 1-0 lead. Now, that wouldn't last very long because in the bottom of the second, Japan came right back with a homer of their own by Murakami. And the bleeding wouldn't stop there, with Newton Bar grounding out to first, bringing in Okamura for a 1-2 lead. Now, that's where things kind of stayed for a little bit until the bottom of the fourth rolled around, and Japan got another home run off of the bat of Okamura to give the Japanese a 1-3 lead. And things weren't looking great for Team USA at this point. I mean, they got runners in scoring position, but they struggled to do anything with it. Until never. I mean, they didn't really score with runners in scoring position. But, the game went on, and bottom of the eighth came around, and that's when Kyle Schwarber decided to take things into his own hands and rake one to right center for 436 feet to, lessen the blow for Team USA, make the score 2-3. Now, let's move on to the top of the ninth inning where things get really interesting. Team USA is still down 2-3 at this point, and Japan's decided to bring in their ace, Shohei Ohtani, to pitch the final inning. Really poetic. Anyway, to kick the inning off, McNeil is up to bat, and he gets the count full, 3-2, and then Shohei Ohtani walks him on the seventh pitch. Mind-blowing. That's not something Shohei Ohtani does. But, yeah, Team America got kind of screwed over with Mookie Betts up to bat. He grounds into a double play to, really kill the momentum for Team USA. All of a sudden, there's 2 outs with the final batter and Team USA's last chance being Mike Trout, who's struggled all game. I don't even know if he got a hit at this point. But anyway, he walks it to the plate, and he's staring down his teammate, his Angels teammate, Shohei Ohtani. The two best players in the world are going head-to-head in the World Baseball Classic Championship in the final at-bat. I mean, scripted? Probably, but who cares? Anyway, Mike Trout steps up to the plate, and this at-bat goes a little while. I mean, like 6 pitches in this at-bat? Anyway, counts 2-2. No, the count's full, and Shohei Ohtani delivers a splitter to the outside to strike Mike Trout out and win the game. Beautiful. All right, that's it for this recap. Is baseball saved? Probably. I mean, people are talking about baseball who haven't watched it before, so this is just great for the sport. Love the game. Catch y'all later. Deuces.